verses 1 through 8 in the NRSV translation. Then Jesus told them a parable about their need to pray always and not to lose heart. He said, in a certain city there was a judge who neither feared God nor had respect for people. In that city there was a widow who kept coming to him and saying, "Grant me justice against my opponent." For a while he refused, but later he said to himself, "Though I have no fear of God and no respect for anyone, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will grant her justice so that she may not wear me out by continually coming." And the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God grant justice to his chosen ones who cry to him day and night? Will he delay long in helping them? I tell you, he will quickly grant justice to them. And yet when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth?" My title for this afternoon is The Power of Persistent Prayer. In life, we will all encounter a moment of injustice. At some point or another, we will be overlooked and treated unfairly. It's apparent, but yet an unfortunate reality that after the black race has fought so hard for equality, we are still mistreated and in many cases treated inhumanely because of the color of our skin. Regardless of the many historical strides that women have made, we are still being devalued and can't seem to excel in various career or political capacities because of our gender. It could be that many of you have been ignored and wronged because of your religious declaration as a Christian. Or perhaps it could be that your family, relatives, closest friends, and even church members are giving you a hard time simply because you made the choice to attend seminary. Inevitably, some form of injustice, mistreatment, or opposition will meet us at the door. Although we will encounter innumerable obstacles in this life, we should not allow these blockades to keep us from being persistent in our prayer to God. In our text today, we see that Jesus has spoken a parable to his disciples to effectively convey the importance of maintaining a life of continual prayer. In this parable, there was a judge in a city who equally disregarded both God and man. What a treacherous judge. Within this same city, there was a widow woman who diligently visited this unjust judge, asking him to give her justice against her adversary. The text does not clarify the specifics of the offense that she experienced, but the judge still ignored the widow woman repeatedly. It was when he became tired and seemingly fretful of the further extremes the widow woman might have taken that he vindicates the widow woman of her opponent. This parable helps us to clearly understand that the more we as believers come to God in prayer, despite the many impediments, God will hear us, answer our prayers, and change will take place. So what does this text teach us about the power of persistent prayer? Number one, persistence indicates request. The widow woman had a request pleading for the judge to give her justice from her adversary, to give her justice for what she believed was right. Verse 3 of the text helps us to see that she was habitual in her visitation to the judge. I could imagine that one day was not enough. 2 days were not enough. She could have met him in the market. Maybe she followed him to his house. It's possible that she met him outside of the courthouse before the judge could really get into the building. Needless to say, she was persistent. And the fact that she came to him repeatedly indicated that she had a request, and that a request was extremely important. And like the widow woman, this is what happens with us. Our needs are birthed from situations in our lives, and those needs indicate a request to God. Yes. Some of the church people of old would put it this way: if I've never had a problem, I wouldn't know that God could solve it. If I never was broke, I wouldn't know that he could supply my needs
Charity. Wow, you're such a little person. Wow. You sound as big as Anthony.
You are slow.
You have a strong voice. You have a strong presence. You have a certain eloquence in your voice. And it comes across. You know, there's a certain power that comes through when it comes across.
Yes, Lord.
And you have a good grasp of the dialectical method. My feeling is that if you keep working hard on this dialectic textuality, like you have done, just keep at it. Just keep at it. Working hard. You have some nice turn of phrases in the manuscript itself, and you have excellent. The only thing I wrote in the margin was don't say, like you have these things, don't say number 2. Just go right on to it. You know, you don't have to say number 1, number 2. Just go on, just transition into what it is that you would say. And I think that's fine. Just go on with the point. I don't have, you know, you work on this pretty well. Your relevant question: what does this text teach us about the power of persistent prayer? Your sermon title is "The Power of Persistent Prayer." That's an excellent question there. You talk about that. I think you do a good job there. And you know, you're textual. The key is to really, for everybody in class, to hone in on textuality. Just hone in on textuality. I'm telling you, I want you to keep working on it, keep working on it, keep working on it. And I think that, you know, we're just beginning to hear about you. All right? Go